The gathering storm. All great revolutions begin not with fire but with whispers. While Duke Godric Dominus ruled from the Iron Citadel with fear and fire, Marquis Gaius Cromwell moved in silence. His vision of a new imperium, reborn under his leadership, required allies, leverage, and above all, knowledge. The trusted few. Cromwell did not act alone. He placed his faith in two men above all others: Viscount Valorian Wagner, the sword of the Imperium, a battle-hardened noble who had spilled blood in countless Eastern campaigns. A veteran of the border wars he had fought against and among the Eastern barbarian tribes, learning their customs, their weaknesses, and their ambitions. Viscount Caspian Cromwell, his younger brother and closest advisor. Where Valorian was the blade, Caspian was the mind, a diplomat cloaked in charm, trusted even among foreign nobles. Gaius had often said, "Where I cannot go, my brotherhood awaits." To test the strength of potential allies, Gaius sent them both beyond the borders of the core region. The sword of the Imperium, Valorian Wagner, rode east with a small retinue posing as a military envoy, but with a different goal in mind: assess the viability of the Crimson Aurora tribes, who toiled under Imperium occupation. Though brave and fiercely independent, the tribes were fractious, led by warriors who despised one another more than the empire that chained them. Valorian learned their customs, studied their rivalries, and observed their camps from afar. He sent back coded reports written in the old military cipher, cold, precise, and grim. When he returned to Gaius, his message was clear: they would rather war with their cousins than rise against their masters. Their pride is iron, but their unity is air. Thus, the barbarians, though fierce and proud, would not become allies in Cromwell's rebellion. Meanwhile, Caspian journeyed southeast, bearing gifts and ancient texts of honor to Duke Tiberius Gracchus, lord of the House of Gracchus. His people were known across Oromontus for their iron discipline, their obsession with order, and their ancient reverence for honor, law, and civic duty. They marched in perfect formations, spoke in riddled proverbs of old generals and senators, and built cities of white stone, steam forges, and glowing runes etched into every arch. Their officers wore cloaks of red and black, and their soldiers bore square shields engraved with family crests and ideograms of past conquests. Their war machines, clanking walkers with bronze plating and flame-belching turrets, were named after legendary statesmen, and every citizen, from soldier to scholar, was trained to serve the state first, the self last. Once they had been mighty. Before their defeat at the Battle of Bailcourt Bay, they had stood proud as one of the last great civilizers to resist Imperium domination. Though assimilated into the empire 50 years past, their spirit endured, coiled and waiting. Caspian tapped into that wounded pride and reignited it. "Your people were never conquered," he told Tiberius, only paused. In private council, Tiberius agreed. Marquis Gaius Cromwell was not just an ambitious noble, but a visionary, one who could unite the fractured world through strength and reason. He saw in Gaius a better ruler than Duke Godric had ever been, and so House Gracchus would march north, pledging its disciplined legions, its steam-armored warriors, and its skyborne engines to Cromwell's cause. No empire falls in a day, but it begins with a single broken gate. The time for whispers had passed. Marquis Gaius Cromwell and Duke Tiberius Gracchus ignited the fire that would consume the Imperium. Their rebellion began in the south of the core region, striking the city of Grascour, the southernmost outpost of Duke Godric's power. A crucial hub for supply and trade, Grascour was lightly defended, its garrison reduced in recent years by Godric's power. a crucial hub for supply and trade, Gresko was lightly defended, its garrison reduced in recent years by Godric's overconfidence and stretched campaigns abroad. Cromwell and Gracchus struck swiftly and without warning. Their forces marched under no banner but storm and steel, with Magitech cannons and spellwrights at the front, and steam-armored infantry behind. Gracchus's legions encircled the city, while Cromwell's vanguard shattered the outer gates. The defenders barely had time to rally. Gresko fell in hours. In the chaos of the assault amidst smoke and clashing gears, Viscount Caspian Cromwell found himself cut off, surrounded by elite defenders guarding the governor's palace. His blade sang, but the tide turned against him. Then came Valorian Wagner, the sword of the Imperium, crashing through the flames like a storm given form. His arrival was fury and precision, an arc of steam and steel as he cleaved through enemy ranks to reach Caspian. "Try not to die before we win the war," he growled, pulling Caspian to his feet with a bloodied gauntlet. Their bond, forged in loyalty and tested in fire, only deepened that day, and the soldiers who witnessed it whispered afterward that the rebellion had heroes now, and they wore the name Cromwell. Strike at the gates, and the lion will bear its fangs. Word of Gresko's fall reached the Iron Citadel by crow-steel messenger, a shattered seal and blood-streaked parchment that spoke of betrayal and fire. Duke Godric Dominus, ever still upon his obsidian throne, read the words in silence. He did not rage, he did not roar. He simply said, "Send the Viscounts." Gresko may have fallen, but the rebellion had not yet reached the Imperium's heart. Standing between the traitors and the Iron Citadel was the Core Regent Barracks, a fortress complex in the sacred crucible of the Imperium's military elite. Within its walls, the finest warriors of the Empire were forged, Blade Shield commanders, Archengine knights, and Warden enchanters trained for absolute loyalty. To protect it, Duke Godric dispatched two of his most trusted enforcers, Viscount Cassius Black, a man as cold as the metal he wielded, known for his brutal efficiency and unshakable discipline. Cassius had never lost a battle and never taken a prisoner. Viscount Gideon Ashford, a master tactician and arcane duelist, whose command of battle magic was whispered about even by the spellwrights of the Academy. Together they marched with a detachment of Ironborn Guard, their destination clear: hold the barracks at any cost. For if the barracks fell, the rebellion would have an open path to the Iron Citadel and the tyrant's throne itself. Victories build the path, blood cements the throne. The fires of Gresko still smouldered when Marcus Cromwell convened his war council. The banners of House Cromwell and House Gracchus flew side by side above the captured city's parapets, and yet all eyes turned west to the true test of the rebellion. The Core Regent Barracks stood like a bastion of unyielding stone between them and the Iron Citadel. There the finest warriors of the Imperium were bred, trained, and indoctrinated. Every soldier forged behind its walls was worth 10 common men, and Gaius knew they would not break easily. In the central chamber of the old governor's estate, the High Command gathered. Maps covered the war table, ink splattered, blood marked, curling at the edges from proximity to heated arguments. Viscount Caspian Cromwell stood to Gaius's left, voice calm but firm. "If we storm the barracks head-on, we'll lose half our force, and the rest will break on the walls." Duke Tiberius Gracchus leaned over the table, armored gauntlet tapping rhythmically on the border of the map. "Then we starve them out. Siege, not slaughter." But Gaius remained silent, his eyes not on the map but on the flickering glow of the flame beside it. His mind was elsewhere, on the faces of men who had trained in that fortress, now standing ready to kill their own kin to protect a crumbling order. Finally, Valorian Wagner, the sword of the Imperium, spoke from the shadows near the window. His armor still bore the blackened marks of Gresco. They will not surrender, not while Cassius Black breathes, not while Ashford weaves his fire. We need to kill them both publicly. Make their fall a warning. Gaius raised his hand, silencing the room. We will do what we must, he said. Not for vengeance, not for pride, for the Imperium that must be reborn. Cromwell believes he has struck fear into our hearts. Let him believe it, for when he comes we will bury that belief beneath our boots. He paced slowly, gauntlet clenching with every word. The barracks does not fall, not today, not ever. If you die nameless. If you run, I will name you, and I will find you. He raised his sword, long, blackened steel etched with the names of every rebellion he'd crushed in the past. Hold this line, or die as the last true sons of the Imperium. Viscount Gideon Ashford, the flame of the mind. Meanwhile, within the Grand Strategium, a domed tower where magic crackled through the air like trapped lightning, Gideon Ashford orchestrated the defense with clinical precision. Arcane charts hovered around him, glowing runes orbiting a magical projection of the terrain. His robes of crimson and ash shimmered with woven enchantments, and his eyes burned with unblinking focus. He muttered spell matrices while instructing battle magi on formation warding, terrain enhancement, and leyline amplification. He would not simply defend the barracks. He would turn the fortress into a crucible of fire and storm. To his apprentice, he murmured without looking, "The sword of the Imperium will come. He will try to break the gate. Let him. He'll find we built a wall behind every door." Though different temperament, one a soldier, the other a sorcerer, Cassius and Gideon stood united. They had repelled invasions, quelled insurrections, and faced monsters born of magic and war. But never this, never traitors with purpose, never a rebellion with a cause. Still they stood ready, because if the barracks fell, so too would the myth of Imperium invincibility.